Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We are learning Mishna Yishkalim, Parak Beis, Chapter 2, Mishna Beis, Mishnah 2. Okay, before we start, we just have a quick introduction. The Torah says that if a person uses for his own personal benefit something that belongs to Hektish, something that's been consecrated to the Beis HaMikdash, it's sanctified, then that's called Me'ilah. If you do it unintentionally, the halacha is that you bring a Asham offering, a special sacrifice for doing so. You have to pay back the Beis HaMikdash for what you took, for what you used. You have to pay back for what you used, plus an additional fifth. If you did it intentionally, so besides for paying back what you took, you get lashes, but there's no sacrifice, there's no asham, and there's no added fifth to what you pay back. So in the first two cases of our Mishnah, the first two cases of the Mishnah are going to revolve around that law. You give your coin to your friend to take for you to donate it towards the half shekel. He's going to Yerushalayim, or he's going to Yerushalayim, and you give him a coin and say, please give this coin, this half shekel for me. It's his money. He's just being his messenger to deliver the money. Okay. Now, and what happens? What happens is that the friend, the messenger, forgets that this coin belongs to somebody else, and he thinks it's his, and he donates it for himself, for his own. I mean, the person sent him the money. Reuven sent the money with Shimon for Shimon to deliver Reuven's half shekel for his mitzvah. And instead, Shimon forgets it's Reuven's money, thinks it's his own, and uses it for himself. Now, im nitrama teruma mo'al. If the separation was already made, then when Shimon, the messenger, gives the half shekel for himself, he has committed me'ilah. Now, yesterday we learned that even that there were 3 times a year that the money's collected, the half shekels in the chamber where they were collected. 3 times a year, a kohen would go in, take out money to use to buy the communal sacrifices. And when that money was separated, it wasn't just separated for those who had actually contributed, but even for those who were still in the middle of sending their half shekel. Theoretically, for people who didn't even bother sending a half shekel, but for the person who had sent his half shekel, but the shekel not yet arrived, that separation included him too. And we say when that's done, the money that he sent as a half shekel automatically becomes the property of Hektish, the property of the Beis HaMikdash. Because if they separated the money for you, which is for you who are giving your half shekel towards it, then that automatically makes the half shekel that it's on its way also belonging to Hektish. So that means that when this messenger took that coin and he donated it for himself, thinking it was his, it was already consecrated. It's already consecrated. That's Me'ilah, because he used something belonging to the Beis HaMikdash for his personal benefit. What's his personal benefit here? And in this case, once he gives half shekel, no one's going to come knocking on his door and saying, hey, you didn't give your half shekel and you don't give it, we're confiscating some of your property. That's what he benefits from. That's his personal benefit. Mm-hmm. And therefore, but the point here is that if this all happened after the separation was made, so the money that he sent became the property of Hektish, that's called that he now benefited from something consecrated, something belonging to the Beis HaMikdash. But let's say it didn't happen. It happened before that. Before the monies were separated, that is when this messenger used someone else's coin for himself. At that point of time, it wasn't Hektish, it was just somebody else's. I used your coin to fulfill my obligation, and it was accepted.
But it was going to the...
Fine, but that's where it's going, but he has to pay you back, because I sent the money for me, he used it for himself, right? And I'm losing out. So therefore, he's going to have to pay me back for it. But there's no me'il at that point, because I'm not using anything consecrated yet. At that point, it's regular money. I'm using somebody else's money to fulfill my obligation. Okay, so I shouldn't do that. But at the end of the day, though, it's not me'ilah. Now, next case. So that's the first case. The first case was where somebody sent the half a shekel with you, the messenger, and you the messenger, used that half shekel for yourself. Now we have a different case. Hashekel shikloi mima'is hektish. One who gives his shekel from sanctified money. That means he had money set aside, money that he had consecrated. He said, this money should belong to the Beis HaMikdash, to the temple. And when you do that, that money is consecrated. What's it consecrated for? It's called for bedek habayis, for repairs. Right? If you decide to donate money or donate an object to the Beis HaMikdash, that is called bedek habayis. That's called donating it for the usage, for the repair, for the usage of the Beis HaMikdash itself. It's not for sacrifices. It's for, so to speak, usage for the building itself. And that money is consecrated. So now you took consecrated money. You had consecrated money with you. You forgot it was consecrated. You took a half shekel from it, and you now gave it towards your obligation of the half shekel. So what you did now is you used consecrated money to fulfill your obligation of a half shekel. Is that me'ilah? Have you committed me'ilah? It sounds like it, right? No. The answer is no. Why is that? We'll see for a second. The answer is that, so let me read it further. Right. So you went ahead and you used consecrated money for your half shekel. That is not, when you donate that money, that is not me'ilah yet. You know why? Because it was sanctified before, and you're just using it for another sanctified purpose. In the case of regular me'ilah, you take something sanctified, right? Let's say you take sanctified money and you pay a debt. So that means you took something sanctified, you use it for a non-sanctified purpose. That's me'ilah. But if you're going from one sanctified purpose to another sanctified purpose, that's not me'ilah yet. But it still could become me'ilah. How is that?
It's going to be useful.
Im nitrama truma, the karva behema. If what happens is, now again, you took that consecrated money, you gave it towards the half shekel, you gave it towards the communal sacrifices. As we said, no me'ilah yet because it was sanctified before, it's sanctified now. However, if what happens is the separation that we said before takes place, where the Kohen goes in, separates the monies, and then uses the monies to buy sacrifices. Once that happens, the karva behema, and an animal is actually offered, ma'al, then it is considered me'ilah. Because the rule is, I'll explain this. The rule is that, as I said before, going from one consecrated purpose to another consecrated purpose is not me'ilah automatically until you actually use it for that different consecrated purpose. Meaning, if the money was consecrated for repairs of the Beis HaMikdash, you now gave this money for the purpose of communal sacrifices. Once a communal sacrifice is considered brought with this money, meaning when you change it from one consecrated purpose to another, the consecrated purpose that you changed to was actually performed, was actually fulfilled, that's when it becomes me'ilah. So in this case, we're saying that if it comes out that you gave this money for your half shekel, which you shouldn't have because it's already consecrated for the Beis HaMikdash repairs. And now they went ahead and the Kohen went into the chamber and he separated money. And he now used monies to buy the sacrifices. That means he used your money to buy the sacrifice. If you use your money to buy the sacrifice, then it becomes me'ilah. Because now it was fulfilled it was now done what you changed its purpose for. Even though it went from sanctified to sanctified, but since you changed it to a sanctified purpose that, again, you have a benefit from, and that purpose was actually done, then it's me'ilah. But now you're going to ask me a question, but who says he used my coin? Right? There's a lot of coins in there.
Yeah.
Who says he used my coin? So the answer is like this. Even if the shekel he gave was not actually used to buy the offering, since the truma is taken and spent on behalf of everyone who gives a shekel, it is considered as if his money went to buy the offering. You don't know if his actual coin was used, but since all the money that was separated and bought sacrifices was for you who gave that shekel, for you who gave that coin, then that's considered like your coin. The coin was actually used, and now it's me'ila. Now, one more point about this, and that is that if this is all true, that if it goes from one sanctified purpose to another sanctified purpose, then it's not me'ila until the other sanctified purpose is actually done. Then we got to take a look back at the first case, where we're talking about somebody sent his half shekel with someone else, and the messenger now used it for himself. And we said that if by the time the messenger gave it for himself, the separation of monies had already been made, and therefore this half shekel on its way that you sent already became sanctified, then we say that when the messenger takes the sanctified money and he donates it, it was me'ila because it was sanctified money. But if it was sanctified money already, and now he used it for his mitzvah of half a shekel, then it's still going from a sanctified to sanctified. It was really meant for one person, and now the other person is doing it. But it's not going from a sanctified use to a non-sanctified use. They're both sanctified uses, just not for the right person. And so there are two we have to say that when the Mishnah says that once it's sanctified, there is me'ila, it's only after the monies are separated and sacrifice were brought from them. Because then again, it comes out that although it went from a sanctified purpose to another sanctified purpose, but being that now that new sanctified purpose was fulfilled, that's when you have me'ila. So when the Mishnah, although the Mishnah didn't say this part about, the animal being offered, that part was not mentioned in the first half of the Mishnah. The commentaries say it's going on both. It's going on both. The first half of the Mishnah waited to the second case. By the second case, we say it, and it covers both because logically it should be that way. Last case of the Mishnah. In this case, the money that you took mistakenly to fulfill your mitzvah was midmei meiser sheni umidmei shvius. Meiser sheni money or shmita money. What does that mean? Meiser sheni, we know, is that there is the second tithing of your new produce that you do. That produce is sanctified, that you now have to take it to Yerushalayim to eat there. If you can't schlep it all up, what do? You redeem it onto money. You take the money to Yerushalayim and spend it on food and drink in Yerushalayim. Okay? Now, so this person had Meiser Sheni money, and he forgot it was Meiser Sheni money, and he took a half shekel from it, and he used it to fulfill his mitzvah. Now, you can't do that. You can't do that. Because basically, the Meiser Sheni money is not supposed to be used for the communal sacrifices. It has its designated use. So it can't be used for the half shekel purpose. Okay? Now let's say, or the other case is Demei Shvi, Shemitah money. What's Shemitah money? Shemitah money means that if at the end of the day you exchanged money for produce that grew during the Shemitah year, okay, that's what you did. You gave money towards it. And Shemitah produce, when it grows in the 7th year, right? We have a 7-year cycle in Eretz Yisrael. Every 7 years, the land has to be laid fallow. Whatever grows there has a certain sanctity to it. You have to treat it in a certain special way. So now if you go ahead and you were to give money for Shemitah produce. So what happens there is that the sanctity from the produce goes on to the money. So the produce itself may not be sanctified anymore, but you still got the money that's sanctified. And you have to use that money to buy food and treat that food just like Shemitah produce. It may not be Shemitah produce, but you got to treat it that way because it was bought from money that had the sanctity of Shemitah on it because it was used it was switched for Shemitah produce. Okay. You can't use that money for half a shekel either because again, it has to be used. It has to be used for consumption. It has to be used for purposes of eating, not for purposes of using some other way. So therefore, so what do you do? But you gave it. You did it already. What are you going to do? What can you do about it? The answer is yoicha kenegdan. You eat an amount that corresponds to its value. What does that mean? That means that you have to now redeem that money onto other money. And you take other money and you take this coin, you say that wherever this Meiser Sheni money may be, right? Wherever it is, right? Because I already gave it towards the half shekel, wherever that coin may be, or whatever that coin with the sanctity of Shvius may be, wherever it may be, that sanctity is transferred onto this coin. And then you're going to have to use that coin for buying food, because that's what you got to do. With Meiser Sheni money, it's got to be used to buy food and to eat the food. If it's Shemitah money, you got to use it for food to eat. And therefore, that's what you got to do with it. But you've now taken care of the coin that you wrongfully gave because the sanctity was removed from that coin. And once the sanctity is removed from that coin, you're good. You've done your mitzvah. You gave the money for the half shekel. There's no problems with that money. So now, once you take the sanctity off, the money you gave is good. Now you have the new money, and you gotta use it appropriately. If it's Ma'aser Sheni money, take Yerushalayim and use it for food and drink Yerushalayim. If it's Shemitah money, you don't have to go to Yerushalayim for it. You got to buy food with it. Treat the food like you would Shemitah produce and eat it. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Rabbi.